of my version of my version.
Bonjour tout le monde, aujourd'hui c'est vendredi, il disait, et puis pour conversation en Kabawaya. Good morning everyone, it is Friday, 10 a.m., and it is time for Rum Shop Talk. Growing up on a cold night, on a cold day in fact, and in St. Lucia a cold day means it's been raining, and it's probably like, low 70s. That's our version of a cold day. You want something really warm. And my mom would always make, they called it porridge, but it really was like usually oatmeal or cream of wheat or like whatever kind of thing that they could turn into like oatmeal, like a porridge, they would. And so that's one of the things that I have brought to my family is some mornings when it's cold enough at the time, I will make them oatmeal. And it was funny because it's like I tend to think that, the way I make oatmeal is the way everyone makes oatmeal. And so we recently went to Mexico and my husband ordered oatmeal and was super disappointed when he did not get oatmeal the way I make oatmeal. And that made me realize that, the way I make oatmeal is pretty different. And so I figured I would show you guys how to make oatmeal because it is getting cold, even here in California, where our version of cold is 60 something degrees. Every place has its version of cold, and when it is your version of cold, you are really like aching for something warm. So today I'm going to show you guys how I make my version of oatmeal, which I kind of sort of loosely learned from my mom, so I called it my mama's oatmeal. I make my oatmeal with milk, and I use the Quaker oats, but I use the old-fashioned one, not the quick instant, whatever it is, the instant or the quick oats. I use the old-fashioned. It doesn't get mushy, and it actually holds much better for the way that we make oatmeal. So we're gonna get started. I have all of my ingredients here. I've got some brown sugar. Yes, we use brown sugar in our oatmeal. I've got some oats, and I have some whole milk. In St. Lucia, typically we would use carnation evaporated milk. And my cat's here next to a hot flame. So if you see me reaching over, it's just I'm trying to keep her away from the hot plate here. We will use evaporated milk, but for you guys today, I am just using a whole cow's milk. All right, got my little pot here, and since I make this, I make it pretty blind, meaning that I just add things in, but because I wanted to show it to you guys, I came up with a recipe which I tested and is pretty accurate. So we're gonna make like a smaller batch of this. So we're gonna do 1 cup of milk here, and we're gonna do a 1/2 cup of the oats. So I'm gonna let my milk just get a little bit warm, and then I'm gonna add the oats in. One of the things about making this kind of oatmeal, oh, hey, Tess, good morning. One of the things about making this kind of oatmeal is you have to kind of keep an eye on it because you're using milk, and milk will boil up if you're not paying attention. I have had many accidents with my with my stove. My husband getting really annoyed when there's oatmeal milk all up in the stove, and it's like a hot mess to clean. So really just keep an eye on your pot as you're making it. So I'm going to go ahead and add our oats. Like I said, we're going to do a 1/2 cup of the oats in here. Let's turn that heat up some here. There we go. Then we're going to do, I don't even know what that is, like 1/12. Yes, Miss Tessa, it has brown sugar and cinnamon and cloves and nutmeg in it. I know how my mama makes her oatmeal, okay? So this is 1/8 of a cup. I'm going to add about 1/2 of that in there because I'm like halving this recipe. And you're gonna stir it till your sugar is dissolved. And pretty much you're just gonna let it, and then we're gonna add our spices in, like my sister just reminded me. Yes, all my mama's children know how to make oatmeal the way she made oatmeal for us. So, and as you can tell with my sister, we have all brought it as part of our family tradition. So I'm gonna just add 4 cloves. You know, the thing about the spices is you kind of add things as you know, see fit, right? So I like spices. I like my things to taste a lot, very spicy. So I go a little heavy on the spice. So I had 4 whole cloves in here. If you don't have whole cloves, you can always just add, like, you know, some ground cloves. I would do a lot less, you know, because those spices can kind of be potent in large quantities. And then I'm gonna grate in some freshly ground nutmeg that I have here. Oops. I'm kind of running low. I need to get some more. Mommy, whenever you watch this, I need some more whole nutmeg from Solution. You know, typically you guys, I have to actually get on the phone with her, but since she watches my Rum Shop, I can just tell her when things are running out, so she could replace them. And then I'm gonna just go ahead and grate. I have a pinch of nutmeg on here, but like I said, with the spices, you can adjust them to taste. And that's the beautiful thing about this recipe as well. It is all, you can make it to taste, you know, how much, if you like it sweeter, go a little heavy on the sugar. If you don't like it as sweet, go lighter on this the sweetness. And then you just let it boil. I usually let it boil for about 10 to 15 minutes until the amount of liquid in there is reduced by half. Where you, yeah, so by half, and your oats are like soft, and I can tell you, I'm like trying to read, my phone's like far away, so I'm like, it's really hard for me to see what my sister's writing on there. So I'm just gonna let this boil, and as we're talking about the legal portion of today's show, I will just go ahead and keep stirring so that my milk doesn't boil over and make a mess. So I'm gonna set this aside, and I will show you guys actually what it looks like before we move on. This is what your oatmeal is gonna look like. I left it on there. I should have taken it off the stove, but I left it on there a little bit longer, so it's a little bit harder than I like. I like it a little bit, but and of course I forgot a spoon. So and in Saint Lucia, I would eat it just like this. Here, I will throw some blueberries in here, and the taste of that warm blueberry in that oatmeal is just a fantastic taste and such a great addition to a cold day. So I'm gonna lick my finger because yeah, it is so good. We're gonna set this aside, and then we're gonna talk about our legal portion of today's show. So last week we talked about gifting, just generally gifting and using your annual exclusion to gift to whoever you wanted to gift to. Today I figured I would talk specifically on charitable giving. And the reason why I did that is because there's a lot of people who do not have any heirs to give, or there's just people who are very philanthropically minded and are looking for ways on which they can gift. And around the holidays, like I said last week, we're all thinking about ways to be more generous, to give. And so I figured a show specifically on charitable giving would be a great idea. So, charitable giving. There are a variety of methods that we use for charitable giving and estate planning. One of the ones that you see, we'll see very frequently, is an outright gift, or what we call a bequest. It's where you write out in your estate plan that you'd like to give either a particular amount of money or a particular asset to your chosen charitable organization. That gift can be one where it is where the charity is a primary beneficiary of the gift, meaning that when you die, they get the gift. Or it could be where the charity is the remainder beneficiary of that gift, meaning that your primary beneficiary could be your husband, your significant other, your child, your niece or nephew, and if they predecease, or if that asset is held in trust for them and they predecease before full distribution of the asset, then the charity is the remainder beneficiary of that. So you will see these two types of charitable gifts in an estate plan pretty frequently. Either the charity is the primary beneficiary or as a remainder beneficiary of that gift. Another way that we will see charitable gifts showing up in an estate plan is where I do that actually. I've done a couple of pet trusts where my clients didn't have any children, what they want, and they had like pets. And so they pretty much created a trust for their pets to provide for all of the pets, living expenses, a house, and the whole nine. And then the charity was the remainder beneficiary of that gift, of that trust. So I'm just gonna turn the heat down low on this because it's starting to like boil and reduce, and we're just gonna let it go. And one of the cool things that happens when you kind of let your oatmeal kind of like boil undisturbed, it forms a nice brown base at the bottom, which I swear probably tastes better than the oats, than the oats itself. And so I like to always make sure I let my oats kind of like just boil on low until that nice layer forms in the bottom. So I could like, scrape it out and eat it because it's really good. All right, back to estate planning and gifting. So another way that you will see a charitable gift given during estate planning is where the charity is made the beneficiary of an asset. And it could be an asset such as a retirement account. It could be a 401k. So retirement accounts, IRAs, 401ks, you could have your charity be the beneficiary of the primary beneficiary of that asset. It could be a life insurance policy that you lived and so if you're thinking, you know what, I don't want to necessarily leave a gift in my estate plan to a charity, but I still want to give them something, that could be a perfect way to do it, where you have an IRA, a 401k, or a life insurance policy where you can gift that to the charity. And what's best about those gifts is they're not survival's gifts, meaning that they're not gifts that are made while you're alive. They're gifts that will happen after you pass away. So if you're concerned about, wanting to preserve the money that you have for your life, then you could still be charitable after you die without really diminishing the assets available for your use while you're alive. So that's another way. We've talked about an outright gift. And one of the things let me just go back quickly to an outright gift. When we talk about an outright gift, we're not only talking about cash, we're also talking about other types of assets as well. Sometimes people will leave their home in the trust to the charity, or they may leave their stocks, appreciated stocks or appreciable stocks, to the charity. It doesn't necessarily have to be a cash amount. You can also leave personal property. If you have art work, cars, charities will take it. They will take it. They will sell it if they can't use it. So there is the ability to think outside of the box when you're making a gift to a charitable organization, and it doesn't necessarily have to all come in the form of cash. So another method of gifting that you may see is what we call a charitable remainder trust, or a charitable annuity remainder trust. And what that is, it's an irrevocable trust that you create now. You make a gift of either cash or an asset into that irrevocable trust. That asset will be one that is income generating, and the donor, so you, would receive the income from that trust for either a term of years or for your lifetime. And then when the term of years passes, or when you pass away, the charity then receives whatever's left in that trust. Again, that is a fantastic way for people who may be concerned with taxes and reducing the taxable the taxable estate without losing control of that asset. That's one way to do it, is you put it into this entity. It's irrevocable outside of your estate. But at the same time, you're receiving income from it, so you're still benefiting from that asset. It's not completely gone, so you're not entirely lost control of that asset. And then the charity receives it after you pass away. So you get like taxable benefits, you get income, and then you get to be philanthropic all at the same time. And then the fourth, probably the fifth option I wanted to talk about is what we call a pooled trust, a pooled income trust, and a pooled income fund. Sorry, and so those are actually like they're you have to go through a financial institution that actually manages those to do them. And what the financial institution does is you gift a particular amount of money to the fund. All right, so this is all good. We're gonna take it off. We're just gonna turn this off, and since this stays really hot, I'm just gonna take this off of this and just pop it on this to cool. And this is what it looks like. It's all done. And you've got this yummy, warm oatmeal to enjoy. Back to law. So the pooled income fund, what it is you give a certain amount of money to a financial institution, and what they do is they pool your money along with that of other donors, and it's invested. And the donors are donors which support the same charity, and so there's a list of charities that you can choose from, and then you can say, well, I want to benefit that particular charity, and so your money will be pooled along with donors who also want to benefit that particular charity. Then the charity, that money is invested, the charity receives quarterly payments from the fund, and then when you die, your gift, the amount of money that you initially put in, is then gifted over to the charitable organization. And so as you can see, there are multiple ways in which, if you were thinking of being charitable this year, next year, if it's something that you'd like to have be part of your life, there are a variety of options for you that does not require you to immediately give a gift. You know, when we think about charitable gifts, we think about making those one-time donations, or that monthly donation, or that annual donation. What I've given you is at least 5 different options that are not part of that realm at all, and that will actually your gift will take place after you die. So you know, as you're going through the holiday season, if you're thinking about being charitable, here are some options that you can partake in and benefit your favorite charitable organization. And of course, if that charity is a 501c3, you guys know that 501c3s, you get a tax deductible, the gift is tax deductible. For these types of options that we talk about, that deductibility probably won't happen until the gift is made. But hey, you know, it's like someone's going to benefit from that gift beyond just the charity as well. So thank you so much, you guys, for stopping by. Hope this was helpful. Hope you have a wonderful Friday, a beautiful weekend. Go make yourself some oatmeal out here. It is a kind of warm, 60 degrees this morning, you know, but it was raining yesterday, so the air is still pretty crisp and cool. So that oatmeal will be a perfect breakfast for you guys. Enjoy, and I will see you next week for another episode of Rum Shop Talks, where we'll be probably rumming and learning all about estate planning. Thank you guys. Bye.